I wish I had a fancy press pass. Hey everybody, it's Drewski McGillicuddy, and that's right, I wish I had a fancy press pass. A bunch of people I know just happened to get an early access screener password thingy-dingy for the Justice League Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut Justice League, yeah, the one that Zack Snyder did, not that Joss Whedon bullshit that we got in the theater, which happens to be one of the worst movies I think I've ever seen. And I'm pretty sure I reviewed it, but, you know, it's not important enough to remember. But since I can't watch the Snyder Cut, I figure I'll go all the way back to the beginning and refresh my memory, starting out with 2013's Man of Steel, directed by Zack Snyder. Now, before we get into this, let me go all the way back to my history with Superman. I grew up with the Christopher Reeve Superman. I loved all 4 movies in the Christopher Reeves Superman franchise. And then I worked at the theater when Superman Returns came out, and I had a buddy who felt the same way I did about the Christopher Reeves Superman saga. We both even loved to talk about how I don't understand the hate for Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. So like I said, we were both working at the theater in 2006 when Superman Returns came out, starring Brandon Routh, the most forgettable actor ever. And we both agreed that that itself, I mean, not the worst movie I've ever seen, but definitely the worst Superman movie in the franchise. Point of the story is we didn't like Superman Returns very much. Fast forward to 2013. I'm super excited. There's a new Superman movie coming out. My buddy still works at the theater. I get to the theater. He comes up to me and he says, "Man, that was the worst Superman movie I've ever seen. Nothing could ever come close to being as bad as that was. It was complete garbage." So immediately, all my expectations went out the window. But to my surprise, I disagreed with him. I went into this movie and I had a good time. Now, I did have some small gripes back in 2013, the biggest of which being his suit was way too dark. I like that light shade of almost sky blue or like royal blue, a mixture between sky blue and royal blue, not fucking navy blue and black. Some of the stuff was a little jarring. Like, I was expecting a, straightforward narrative, whereas we got jumping around from dream sequence to memory flashback to finally we're in the now, which that bothered me the first time I watched it, but not, enough to not like the movie. But now I kind of think it's a creative way to tell the story, to be able to tell the different, show the different ages of Superman, and instead of just, showing here he is as a baby, here he is as a teenager, now he's a Clark Kent mild-mannered reporter, mild-mannered reporter who just happens to be Superman. And this one, he's already an adult, and then through the flashbacks, like I said, you get to see his childhood, his adolescence, his teen years, and how he struggled with, first discovering these powers, and how they were, and like the scene where he's a little kid and like all of a sudden everybody starts turning see-through and he can hear everything. I love that. Like, a lot of people complain about origin stories, but this was a great way to do it. Just, don't show it all at once. Show this, show that, and jump back and forth. I like that direction. And then, like I said, it grew on me over the years. Something else about this movie that I gotta point out is, the original came out in 1978. And times were a lot different back then. We didn't have social media. We didn't have, all the nonsense, even though social media wasn't as bad as it was now back then in 2013. But, it was still, progressively making people fucking terrible. I don't know. The point is, society in the 70s was different than society in 2013. So yeah, there was kind of a darker take on Superman, and a lot of people complained about that. A lot of people complained about there being too much action in this Superman movie and not enough saving cats from trees. Now, as much as I love watching Superman save some cats from trees, I enjoyed the action in this movie. And I also like the fact that, he realizes he has these powers at a young age, but he doesn't realize his full potential. And you slowly see him realize his full potential once he reaches adulthood in the film. And then once he figures out that thingy-dingy that he finds, it goes to a key somewhere and a thing that Lois, he hears over the radio, and then Lois, she's there to find this thing in the ice that's been there for 18,000 years, which doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense to me. I mean, I guess they're that technologically advanced that 18,000 years ago, they had outposts all over the world, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But here he is, he goes to it, and then that's when it learns him about who he is. He meets his father, and then he realizes that the sky is literally the limit. Or isn't. The sky... He learns how to fly, because at first he didn't know how to fly. He could just jump really high, which that's kind of a nod to like way back when he first appeared in Action Comics, because Superman couldn't just fly right out the gate. He leaped tall buildings. He didn't just fly, he leaped tall buildings. Don't let me forget to mention Michael Shannon as Zod, because this guy is one of the most underrated actors that there are. And a lot of people think this performance is over the top. But I think he pretty much nailed it, because the Zod we got in the original Superman 2, well, I guess he was in the first one for a little bit, but him, like, he seemed like this little puny guy with a receding hairline that looked like, a creepy uncle, as compared to this guy who looks like he might be threatening, he might be seriously gonna mess you up, because Zod is kind of scary in this movie. I will find him! Especially at the beginning of the movie, and then the message, once, they get out of the Phantom Zone, they reach Earth after all this time looking for Kal-El. They reach Earth, and I do love the scene where they take over everyone's broadcast. And, it's kind of like, how the hell do they know all these different languages? How they speak English to begin with? And then I'm thinking, well, if they're supposedly so advanced, of course they would have the technology to know everything from it's basically like they had an advanced Google before Google was Google. I mean, Google was Google. Don't fucking worry about it, alright? Don't think too much into it. It's a fucking movie. Point of the story is, I thought Zod was remarkably better in Man of Steel than he was in Superman 2, regardless of which Superman 2 cut you watch. Back to the whole Henry Cavill and the Superman, of course, we should probably talk about Lois Lane, because, I'll admit, like, I as much as I love Amy Adams, I didn't really like her Lois Lane when I saw it in the theater, or the last couple times I watched it. But this time, she kind of won me over, so to speak. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's strong female leads. But Margot Kidder, like, for the longest time, she was the quintessential Lois Lane. No nonsense. Kept her nose to the grindstone type of person. And that's pretty much how Amy Adams is in this movie. She's just more of a modern chick. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know, okay? Like I said, let's get back to how people talked about there's too much action in a Superman movie. And they would rather watch him, fly around backwards until he wants to turn back time. But yeah, I've heard a lot of complaints about there being too much action in this movie, and it's like, well, there's, as much as I personally would have loved to seen a longer or more montages of him going around and rescuing people or doing things. I mean, that's not the kind of movie this was. This was the origin story, and in this story, they didn't really know how society would accept Superman. I mean, from Superman's father telling him all these years, you know, the world's not ready for you. You know, we don't know how they're going to react. And then he even dies in the movie because he doesn't want Clark to let out his secret that he's got these special powers. And then even before Clark lets out the information that he's got these special powers, I mean, sure, Lois was doing the story that they found this ship and that she had seen the alien in action. He never really comes out until Zod shows up and calls him out and says, look, I'm looking for you. You know who you are. Nobody else might know who you are, but if they do, they better turn you in or y'all are going to suffer the consequences. And that just goes back to how great that scene was. But then, yeah, we get the crazy action once he dons the Superman suit. Which, it's funny, they take forever to call him Superman in this movie. And I almost, for a second, forgot that they did. And then when they almost did and they didn't, I was like, Man of Steel. That's the name of the movie. Back to the action. Like, what are people complaining for? I mean, the action, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, some of it looks like a video game. I was like, well, a lot of it's blurry because they're moving at a high rate of fucking speed. What the fuck do you expect? I mean, I know. I get it. Zack Snyder's known for his slow motion, which there wasn't any slow motion because, you know, Superman's as fast as a speeding bullet. And then the whole destruction of the city, you know, these people came here to fuck shit up. So they're going to fuck shit up. Now, Superman didn't just intentionally think, oh, well, I'm just going to throw him into all this stuff and hopefully people get out of the way. I mean, they were going to fuck shit up regardless. It was going to happen. Now, I admit there's, you know, it's a little gratuitous there towards the end when it's just Zod and Superman fighting and they're going through the buildings and the buildings are tumbling and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, these are two superhumans duking it out in the middle of the city. And you might think, well, why didn't Superman just go off to the cornfield and fight him? It's like, well, he probably would have just flew back to the city again. Or somewhere where he can threaten humanity. Like, that's the whole point. Like, he wasn't going to stop threatening humanity because General Zod's sole purpose in this army was to preserve his people and their way of life. And the only way to do that, I guess, is to kill Superman and extract the codex from his blood cells so that he can repopulate Earth with his people after he uses the world engine to change the atmosphere. But it's like, well, if you change the atmosphere, aren't you going to lose all your powers? I don't know. I'm curious. But these are some of the things that, you know, you just got to go with it. It's a fucking movie. And then the other complaint everyone has is Superman kills in this movie. Guess what? It's not the first time. He killed Zod in all three, or, you know, Zod, he killed the other three in Superman 2. At least I'm sure he killed all three of them. Otherwise, you know, I'm pretty sure he killed them. Just threw that one lady, Lois Lane, killed that one bitch, punched her, threw her down the pit. Can I find the scenes? I don't fucking know. I don't know. But even if Superman had never killed anyone before and his whole purpose was to not kill and to save, Zod wasn't going to stop either. Like I said, his sole purpose for being alive was to basically do what he's doing in this movie, and nothing's going to stop him. And if you try to stop him, he's either going to kill you and then kill everybody anyway, or you're going to have to kill him. So Superman kills him. He snaps his neck. And then, here's the thing. After he does it, he drops to his knees and he screams in anguish for the fact that he just killed, like, the last of his kind. Or the fact that he killed at all. And then Lois comes in and holds him, and he sits there and mourns the death of Zod, even though Zod was trying to kill everybody. So I don't know. And I never understood anybody's problem with this fucking movie. This is one of my favorite fucking superhero movies, and it's a fucking modern masterpiece. I don't know. I just made it up. But anyway, I don't have time for this shit. So if you wouldn't mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. There's buttons somewhere, and I would like for you to push them. And if you would be so inclined as to donate $1 or more to my Patreon down below, I'd greatly appreciate that too. It would convince me to get better at this, because after 3 years and 3 years of me promising to get better at this, I'm thinking I might, does this audio sound all right? I found this fucking microphone. It was hitting. Oh, look, you can see it. There. No, you can't. Anyway, it was hiding behind a couch. I don't know how the hell it got behind the couch. I have to ask the cat. But there it was. I found it, and now I'm using it. So hopefully it's better than before. And hopefully, I feel like this, I'm just going to give up on the lighting. I'm going to give up on the lighting. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about you getting the fuck out.